Right.
Right.
Judas was known for betraying Jesus Christ. He was known to be instrumental in the death of Jesus Christ. When you look at it in a physical sense. So today we're going to discuss Judas. And the first week in October we're going to be hitting hard on our series that is called Hell and Suicide. Now, just for me giving that title, and everybody gets to play a part in this today, just by me giving that title, what do you think I'm meaning when I say hell and suicide?
It means, you were going to go ahead.
No.
It means hell and suicide. It means that more people are taking their life now than what they used to, because they a lack of understanding and knowledge. So they need a scapegoat, so they ain't got no other route to go but to commit.
Somebody been eating some weeds.
She's stepping in tall cotton.
I mean, I'm just going off what's coming in my mind, because I ain't studied on it. I really don't know what I'm talking about, but it's coming to me.
Well, we're going to dig deep into that because like we was just discussing, suicide is on the rise. And a lot of people don't know how to recognize suicide. But one important factor we're going to study is a lot of people don't even know that they are on the verge of suicide. Can you imagine a person that's trying to just make it through life and don't even realize how close to suicide they are? So we're gonna be dealing with that going into the first week of October, which is our Hell and Suicide series. Hell and suicide is basically the process that a person goes through before they get to that breaking point, which is suicide. So a person goes through a process of hell in their life before they get to that breaking point of suicide. So that's what Hell and Suicide is titled, and it's from a book that the Holy Spirit gave me to write, which is called Hell and Suicide. And I think that's going to be a very good series. I can't wait to go into that. So today we're doing the introduction to that series. Now I know you don't see the title of the Hell and Suicide. You see the title called The Fallout Guy. But it is actually the introduction to the series Hell and Suicide, which everybody's going to be playing a part. Everybody's going to be doing a lot of self-reflecting to see, are you even close to it? Because one of the problems is when a person don't even know how close they are to ending their life, and people around them that say they love them is not conscious of what's going on in that person's life, and then when it happens, then it's like, I didn't even know they was that bad off. So it shows how important it is that we as a spiritual family need to be real close to one another. Because you never know what happens to a person when they leave here and go home, or go to whatever their destination may be. You don't know what's going on in that person's head, what's going on in that person's heart. So we're going to be talking about Judas, because Judas is known as the person that betrayed Jesus Christ. That's what he's best known for. Everybody that knows the story about Judas, they have built up this hatred for Judas because they said Judas betrayed Jesus Christ. Well, we're going to dig a little bit today into the history of Judas, because yes, Judas betrayed Jesus Christ, but people don't realize the spiritual side to that is that Judas was already that was already prophesied in the Old Testament. And then called Judas out by name, but they already had prophesied in the Old Testament that Jesus Christ would be betrayed. And they didn't say it like, when we get into the New Testament, Jesus will be betrayed and his name is Judas. But they give you enough information that you can build the answer to it. And that's why it's so important that we as Christians, we get to know one another. We build love and trust for one another. We build a unity for one another, because if someone is falling, someone else needs to carry that person, hold that person up. Let that person know, hey, you can go a little bit further. Come on. It's kind of like when you run and track together, and you begin, one of the runners begin to fall. Somebody needs to grab that runner, keep them from falling on the ground and hurting themselves worse, and let them know, come on, let's go. We can do this. But we don't want to hold up our brothers and sisters in today's society. We don't want to hold them up. But when they get to that end, when they get to that breaking point, we want to say, I didn't know they was that bad off. And then all of a sudden, now they want to try to, okay, we got to do something because we got to stop this. We got to end this suicide that's going on around here, when it begins with you. If you had just took the time to get to know those around you, don't wait till it's too late. Okay. Now the fallout guy is a person to take the negative hit for things going wrong. You know how it is. If you're dealing with someone robbing the bank, or somebody robbing a convenience store or something, they need somebody to take the fallout. Okay, you're gonna have to sacrifice. You're gonna have to go to jail for a little bit, but your money gonna be there when you get out. They need a fallout guy, because they got to keep the police off of the bigger picture, or the real villains. Got to keep the police off the real villains by giving them a person. Because in some cases, police don't care who really did commit the crime. They just need to get somebody to close that case. That's not always, but sometimes the police just need a fall guy to close the case. Especially when it's a very public case. They want to get it closed, and they want to get it closed quickly. So they need a fallout guy. They need someone to take the negative hit for the things gone wrong. Now, typically the fault is not solely to be blamed on this individual, but it is easier for society to use this person than to see their own fault. So in other words, what it's saying is that it's not always the person that is taking the fallout. It's not always their fault. Maybe it's not fully their fault. But it's easier for society to sit there and blame that person than to sit there and do the actual work to find out what really happened. Now we know we've gone through centuries of the story of Adam and Eve. We've gone through that for centuries. And oh my goodness, we always hear it the same way. That Eve caused Adam to sin. And that it was an apple that Adam ate. And that's where they get the term Adam's apple on the person. But when you really stop and look at it, Eve was the fallout guy.